Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Hello, House of Destiny, and welcome to Real Life, Real Faith. We've got a brand new mini-series for you today, and I'm delighted to be joined, as always, by Pastor Far, and I've got a very special guest with me today, all the way from South Africa. This is Dr. Timm, and I have known Dr. Timm since I was 3 years old, and she has got too many letters after her name. She's a very fancy lady, very smart, very intelligent, and she is a professional psychologist. She has got her PhD in psychology. So Dr. Timm, her name is Vicky. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we're very happy to have Dr. Timm with us today. And today, what we're going to start with, and you know, Pastor Far and I were going up and down a little bit about this, but we've obviously covered so many topics here on Real Life, Real Faith. You know, we're all about tackling real issues. We sometimes get stuck into the nitty-gritty. We're trying to do something a little different to what would be a traditional kind of teaching based, and we're wanting it to be more conversationally based. And something that I've really been thinking about a lot, thinking about the way I've grown up, this show has definitely caused some reflection. Let's say that, Pastor Far. We've had some reflection time. But I was talking about this a little bit with Dr. Timm, with Vicky, and speaking to her about, I talk to her about everything, but I was really thinking about this, and I think so often there's a stigma attached to Christians that seek mental health. And so what I wanted to talk about, and really kind of just give the floor to you for a second, is can Christians benefit from counseling, psychology, therapy? Like, what would your thoughts be on that as a professional psychologist?
Well, I'm a Christian as well. I was born again when I was 11. So, for me, it's very important that people seek mental health professionals when they need to, from whatever walk of life you are from.
Yes.
I think it's important that you get somebody that's going to match you, somebody that you can actually relate to. A Christian can go to a non-Christian psychologist if you are very firm in your beliefs and you know what you can take and what you can leave. But it does make sense to me that if you are Christian, you get quite a lot from going to a fellow Christian, because we're just on the same page, and then you know where the other person is coming from.
Yeah.
I think probably the stigmas come from the fact that there's a lot of humanism in psychology, in terms of psychologists are expert in people and human beings, psyche, and we don't, obviously the fathers of psychology didn't bring in scriptures.
Yes.
Whereas somebody practicing can bring in scriptures. If they are a Christian, they can bring that. We're allowed to. If somebody says, please bring that in, you can do that. But for me, I don't look for the answer in a person. It's just that we are trained to understand people, and that's where our emphasis is.
Yeah.
So you can understand the psyche, you can understand that particular person, but the answer isn't necessarily in them. You can also bring, for me as a Christian, obviously you bring God to bear on whatever problem you have as well.
Yes. I think that's incredible. And I know, Pastor Far, this is something we've spoken about. You know, you got saved, remind me when?
76.
76. And I grew up in the church kind of going in the 80s and the 90s. Obviously, for Dr. Timm over here, she too was part of the church. She got saved at 11, saw the church through all those different sort of, decades and eras from, the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever it was. But you'll know, Pastor Far, we've spoken about this. There was a lot of stigma surrounding getting help.
Dr. Timm, did I understand you went to Rhema?
Yes, I did for 17 years.
Okay, is this like Rhema College?
Yes.
Rhema? Okay.
Yeah.
So for context again for everybody, Dr. Timm's husband He's pretty much South Africa's top production expert.
Oh.
He runs everything from South Africa's Got Talent. He's won every award there is to win. He's a production guy. So he was very much part of the behind the scenes of Rhema being kind of the church in South Africa with the productions.
Right.
He's still doing that kind of thing. He's really, really phenomenal at it.
The reason why I was accepted to go to Rhema, Kenneth Hagin's Rhema in Tulsa, and I came up through the Word of Faith churches, and I'm thankful for that background in my life. It taught me a lot of discipline and a lot of things, even though, but what denomination doesn't have issues?
Yes.
So, but, you know, I mean, some people might condemn you if you didn't drive a certain car, you weren't in faith.
Yes.
And certainly there's a great stigma when it comes to mental issues. Unfortunately, you know, the church is full of people, and people have problems.
Yeah.
And we're no different than anyone else. We just have a Savior, and we know where to go for help. But I think that for a lot of people, they might struggle with shame. I know when I was growing up, mental illness was more of almost a disgrace.
Yeah.
Poor people. We're so cruel as humans,
Yeah.
you know, to put people down. But I think for Christians to understand that, you know, your mind is a part of your body. Just like if you have stomach problems, you don't think twice about going to the doctor for your stomach. But if you're having issues with your mind or with anxiety, with your soul, people need help, and there's so many reasons why. But anyway, I was curious about your background.
Yeah. Yeah, and the faith, you know, in terms of standing on scriptures and believing God, you can still do that while understanding what the problem is, why you have that problem, what exactly is it that's bothering you, where did it come from. That's just knowledge that you can have to help you through whatever it is that you're going through.
Yes.
And you can still use scriptures after that to stand in faith. I don't think that from my opinion, it doesn't contradict the Bible in any way. Perhaps some of the practices in terms of some people that are, you know, from a different orientation or something in terms of what kind of theories they use. I use the ones and I use the techniques that I believe fit with the Word of God. I use a lot of cognitive behavior therapy. Cognitive behavior therapy is really like a secular version of renewing the mind.
Interesting.
You take that, something is there, say you have anxiety, and you're thinking about that thing in a certain way. It's okay, what way are you thinking about that it is helpful for you and what way is unhelpful for you? And then it's trying to find a different way. It's reframing it for you so that you see it differently. So it's basically a secular version of renewing the mind, and you can also bring in scriptures.
See, that's remarkable. Again, I've been very upfront with everybody out here. I have a diagnosed generalized anxiety disorder. And so there's been times when I've been feeling very panicky, and I think I make my friend a bit tired when I tell her about these things. And she says, why don't you talk to my mother about that? And that's when I know it's time that I've officially made her tired of talking about this issue. And then I'll text Vicky and just say, hi. But, you know, you were talking about that now, and I do think it's something that's so important for everybody to realize, is that there isn't a contradiction between Christian psychology or therapy or counseling or psychology and the Bible. Like you were saying, Pastor Farr, if you have a stomach problem, you go see a gastroenterologist. Everybody doesn't yell at you and say, well, where's your faith?
Yeah.
Why do you need to go see the stomach doctor? Or, you know, you get a throat infection because life happens. We live in a fallen world.
Right.
It's part of what we deal with. We would love to be in a perfect place, but that's what heaven is. We're on the journey there. We're on the journey to the eternal, where there is no pain and no suffering and no sorrow and nothing chronic that afflicts us anymore. But right now in this fallen condition, we do need help, and God has given us that. So what I'm really hoping to do and accomplish by having Dr. Timm with us for, you know, we're going to be doing 4 shows with her, which I'm really excited about, and today's the very first of these 4. But what I'm really hoping to do is, for anybody out there who's really been struggling, I'm hoping to help destigmatize, you know, I'm hoping to to remove any shame or guilt you might feel. And I feel in my heart, like a lot of people out there, it might not even be you necessarily. It might be your children. It might be your grandchildren. People who are struggling, that are younger. And for a lot of people that are a little bit older, that have come out of the faith movement where you name it, claim it, frame it, you command and you decree, and everybody kind of just did what they had to do. Things have shifted, and also some people just struggle differently. And I know that, we've spoken about this, but again, I'm speaking specifically to the people who maybe have children and grandchildren struggling. A lot of what Dr. Timm does is actually assisting adolescents.
I work a lot with adolescents.
Yes, and it's anxiety, correct? It's depression, these sorts of things. And that's one of her specialties, is using CBT, this cognitive behavior therapy, which, like she's saying, is kind of just a secular version of renewing the mind.
Yeah.
And I love that there's this sort of link between the two, because it's a scriptural principle applied in a manner where it's been further studied, and there's able to be the sort of marriage of the two concepts that really have the same root, and that desired outcome and goal is the same, which is to bring freedom to people.
Yes. It's interesting. I was listening to Dr. Chris Palmer this morning, and he was saying, I don't know what happened in Romania, and it wasn't that long ago. It may have been in the 80s, but these children were just, they were without their parents, and they would maybe just stick a bottle in their mouth, but the children were never touched. And he was talking about all the problems that they had because of that, and trauma that people go through. Maybe Michaela Peterson it was her podcast, but she was asking him questions about, like, if you go through something under the age of 2, can that be affecting you later in life? What do you think about that, Dr. Timm?
I do think it can, because of attachment. You need to be bonding to a significant other. I remember looking in a home at the one where my friend worked, and there was this little baby, 4 months old, abandoned when they found him somewhere in the street somewhere, Cape Town. The friendliest little chap she said, look at this baby. Everyone was cooing over him and giving him a lot of attention. She then said to me about 18 months later or so, do you remember that baby? So I said, yeah. She said, I want to show you this child now. And I went up to where he was in a cot, completely unresponsive, because he didn't have the interaction.
Sure.
God is a relational God.
Yes.
He created us to be in relationship with him. We get to God through relationship with Jesus. That's what Christianity is all about. So relationship is important. And these kids, if they don't have that connection, then that will affect them later on in life, the way they attach to other people. And trauma, of course, childhood trauma is hard to overcome. Not impossible, but it's difficult. It does affect you.
Yeah.
And to say it doesn't, and we can just confess scriptures, not that I believe there's anything wrong with confessing scriptures. Obviously, we stand in faith for things, but it's also useful to get in relationship with another person and work through those childhood issues with somebody. You need to, and you need to really understand where it's coming from. Otherwise, you're going to walk through life and you're going to be reacting in a certain way, and you don't realize that way that you're reacting is related to something traumatic that happened in your past.
So people are literally destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And someone in your position can provide the knowledge that they need,
Yeah. It is.
They can put their finger on it.
Yes, it's
Start the
remarkable.
healing process.
That's the thing, is to just think about the fact that these things can impact. It's not even can, they do. Things that happen to us when we're children, they do impact
Absolutely.
us. And again, I think the goal of the show is pretty much raw honesty, real life. It's the thing that we're always kind of focusing on. And so for the sake of time, we're going to end here today. But make sure you come back the next 3 weeks. We've got Dr. Timm with us again, and Pastor Far and myself and her are going to be talking about topics like this. And my hope and our hope and goal is to just strip away, like I said, shame and guilt and anything that might be there that's lingering from a series of teaching in the church that I don't think was helpful or beneficial, that caused a lot of pain in people. And so obviously the church is still God's plan, even though we might have found some pain and issues within it. It's still the plan of God for community, like Dr. Timm was saying, for relationship. And so thank you so much for joining us today on Real Life, Real Faith. If you'd like to be able to support us and help us to continue our mission and what we're doing, there's a red banner that is underneath the player that you can click. And, if you do that and go through the website, we will send you a really awesome devotional that we compiled of different things that Kim wrote many years ago. And for a gift of $25 or more, you will get the latest book that we have to offer, which is called Prophetic Revelation, and it's an insight from the pen of Clement, and you don't want to miss out on that opportunity either. So thank you for your support. Thank you for continuing to watch us. And if you have any questions, for any of you that might want to be able to ask Dr. Timm anything directly, if you email us, we're able to do that and to give those questions to her. And I feel a little bit sorry for her now because I've kind of put her on the spot. But if you email us, real-faith@houseofdestiny.org, we will be able to send those on. I will make sure that she gets those. For those of you that have got questions that might want to know how it is that, you can even just try to find resources in the area that you're in. We are here to support you as best we can, because our goal is to see every single person walk in freedom. So make sure you come back next week. Every Tuesday we're here real-faith.tv, and we'll see you on the next episode. Dr. Timm, thank you so much for joining me. Pastor Farr, as always, an honor, and God bless, and we'll see you guys next week.
Where is peace found?
Yeah.
It's only found in God. You're bringing God in. People can be helped without a Christian psychologist, but they can ultimately be helped, in my opinion, when they know they can put God on the throne of their life and then follow after these principles.
That's what we as psychologists do. We come alongside the person, we're there with them, we walk with them. We can go through the emotions that people get tired of talking about, because if you're feeling down and you're feeling down over a long period of time, people get tired of you talking about it.
Yes.
And that's what psychologists do. They come alongside you and support you in that, work through that with you, understand that with you.
There's no contradiction between what the Bible speaks about and biblical principles and understanding human nature and bringing those two things together.
You ask and we listen. We're finally bringing the most requested offer ever. Get the queen size premium MyPillow, now only $19.98. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable fill. It adjusts to your exact individual needs regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. Get our 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets, only $25. Our brand new mattress topper as low as $69.98. Get our famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25 and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow, only $19.98. That's the lowest price ever. Don't delay, order today. From all of us here at MyPillow, thanks America!
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.